I was born in Russia, and then most of my upbringing was actually here in the States because I came over when I was 6 to Brooklyn. Grew up in Brooklyn for a number of years, did 1st to 8th grade in Brooklyn, then did high school in Staten Island, kind of did that traditional Russian immigrant to Brooklyn to Staten Island move, a little bit more suburban. And then began my medical education because I did one of those 7-year combined programs in Long Island where you do 3 years undergrad studies and then 4 years medical school, all combined, straight path, as long as you maintain all the necessary credentials, the GPAs, the MCAT scores, and you don't need to apply to medical school, which is great because once you're accepted, you're accepted. And then did my residency in New Jersey. So you could say that I've kind of been all over the place, and now I live in Manhattan.
Now you're in Manhattan. Very cool.
Yeah.
So Russia, do you remember it at all?
Minimally. I remember a few cute stories. I feel like your memories turn on right as I left.
Right.
So I had a few funny stories that I do remember, the little town that I grew up in, but nothing that I would say is rather impactful on my day-to-day life these days.
Fair enough. So no contrasts between...
Well, I mean, I remember the mentality of when we were in Russia, and then coming to the States, we still kept that mentality of how amazing America is, how grateful we were for the opportunities here. My father telling stories about how difficult it is to get imported products in our small town in Russia, and even going to Payless Shoes, which is a discount shoe store in Brooklyn, was a treat for me, where others maybe in America would say, oh, I don't shop there, I shop at Foot Locker because I want the brand name stuff. Payless to me was like Disney World.
The coolest thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I still really grew up with the same mentality that I probably would have had if I'd grown up in Russia.
That's good. I would imagine you benefited off that a lot.
I think so. Maybe not initially when I was comparing myself to my classmates, but as time went on, I saw the value of that immigrant mindset and the value you could bring throughout your entire life.
Right. What did your dad do?
So my father was a doctor back in Russia. And when we came to the States, he had to get English lessons and went to medical school and residency again for the second time in his life in a new language in his 40s.
Oh my gosh.
And I got to witness that. Whereas most kids probably are too young to have seen their parents go through the whole med school journey. I was 10 years old watching my dad go through medical school. He would bring me to his residency on like bring your child to work day. So I got to see that. And that's kind of how I fell in love with the field.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would imagine that imparted like some serious work ethic to watch your dad go through school, start completely all over again at 40. That's
not just work ethic, but it also took away a lot of my excuses.
Okay.
It's very easy to go into medical school and say, this is too hard. This test was impossible. That's why I didn't do well. And my father would just look at me and say, I did this twice
in 2 languages.
in 2 languages. So you have no excuses. So I couldn't come home with nothing less than a stellar report card each and every time. So